Hey guys, it took a little while to figure out the screen recording, and also we needed to make some changes in Discord since our old admin had to leave very suddenly. But hopefully this works out pretty well. I'm definitely going to make more of these with more advanced stuff like choosing opponents and attack tactics and tricking opponents and things like that. But I especially wanted to make one as soon as possible before KE, just about basic ghosting of troops. So ghosting, you obviously hear the term a lot. All that it actually is, it's a very simple concept. It's basically that when you get attacked, when your bubble is up, almost all of the power that you lose, so that's your monarch power in the top left, almost all of it is from if you have troops in your keep and they die. So your buildings, your research, none of that stuff makes any difference, or it doesn't get impacted. You need to repair your walls, but no big deal. What you actually lose when you get attacked is the traps that you have that you try to use on the enemy. Defense generals, if they're on the wall, they will die, and almost all of the power loss is if you have troops in the keep and they are killed. So that's where people truly get zeroed, is if they have unghosted troops and someone much stronger hits them and kills literally all of their troops, and that's where you see like huge power decreases happening. So all that ghosting is that if you have your troops in alliance wars or rallies, like the rallies that we do against monsters, the game reads that they are not sitting in your keep, and if you get hit when they're in these rallies, they will not die. So I do not know if that's originally how the game was intended or if it was just a loophole that was figured out, but at this point it's a very widely known and widely used technique for player versus player. And even if you look online at like the Ebony TKR guides, there's plenty of talk about ghosting your troops. So the concept of it is, really simple. It's just basically setting up these false alliance rallies, so your troops are protected. And I mean, you can do them against monsters or against the enemy, but doing the ghost rallies against the enemy is more of an advanced technique. That's because they get the notification that there's a rally against them. So that's more if you're trying to lure someone out of their bubble, or you have a plan in advance. While you're new to ghosting, I would definitely recommend doing all of your ghost rallies against monsters instead of other players. So the concept's simple, but there's some definite techniques to it. And one of the things when I first started that I couldn't seem to figure out was how to make sure that only my attack march was unghosted and that everybody else was protected for if I was going to get hit. So there's a definite technique to this to make sure that only your attack march is not ghosted, and it is using the march presets at your rally point. So I'm trying to get to T11 before this next KE. I do not know if I'm going to make it, but I just increased my march size. So normally I would train more ranged troops to fill in my layers. So these might, look a little different for anyone who's familiar. But so this is my attack march. You want to go into the rally point and set a, layered march for your actual attack march. We're going to do, more videos and stuff uh, on layering of troops. So basically, when you're attacking another player, you do not want to just send a huge lump of your strongest troops. Someone who has like an unlayered T12 march is actually at a disadvantage to someone at T11 who has different layered troops. So you can, this site has suggested layering for all different attack types, ranged, grounds, etc. So you can definitely look on here to try to get some suggestions for layering of troops, but you always want to do it in player versus player. Monsters, you can send just your strongest, but if you are only sending like one tier of troops for PvP, you're at a huge disadvantage. So this is, kind of what I'm going for in this video, is just this exact setup. So I'm using, a fair amount of my top 3 tiers, which right now are T10, T9, and T8, and then just have some other troops kind of layered in there. So as you see, I mostly, have a 132k musketeers, just under 50k crossbowmen, etc. And then the rest are just slightly layered between different troop types. So my march size just increased, so I'll just fill those in. And then you also on another note, you want to make sure to check in here your assistant general. All that you actually get out of your assistant general, basically, I mean, there's a little bit more, but it's just their regular skill and then any skill books that they have set up. So if these are too similar to your main general, these will actually be grayed out. So you definitely want to, let me just show you one with one I know clashes. So for example, with Vlad, these are all grayed out because they're too similar to the main general. So if I were to use him as an assistant, all that I'm really getting is the level 1 march size buff. So you do always want to check that with your generals when you're setting up the presets, and just make sure that their skills aren't going to clash. And you can set up more than one preset for different attack types. Like you can have one for ground, one for ranged, things like that. So you just want to make sure that you have this exactly where you want it for your march presets. And then so I'm going to go back out to the world map. I'll get more into making, looking at who you're attacking beforehand and such. And I'm not actually going to attack these guys, but I was just looking on the map before, and there's 3 unbubbled clustered right here. So I'm going to just pull up and pretend to attack them. But before that, though, you want to make sure that you bookmark, I'll usually do 4 or 5. You can do all the ghost rallies on the same monster, but if someone comes and kills it and you don't have other ones bookmarked, then you're scrambling. So I'm going to find a couple monsters over here and just bookmark them. All right, so I'll just do 3 of them since I'm not actually attacking. All right, and my bookmarks, I'll do the monsters, my ghost monsters as friends. So they're helping me out. And then also I'll look in advance for who I'm trying to attack and then have them bookmarked. And I'll get into that in another video. The main idea is that you're wanting to get as many kills as you can with as minimal risk to yourself as possible. So there's some, some choices on who you're attacking and how to do it most effectively. But let's just say I'm going to attack these guys, which I'm not. I'll pull in. Usually it will not pull in right next to somebody. You especially do not want to pull in right next to somebody and just send march after march, because if you do that, and someone sees you attacking, you almost always are going to have troops coming back to your keep, and you're going to get zeroed or hurt badly. So usually I will actually pull, a little bit, at least about this far, or strategically choose my entry point to where I can get in and hit a few people. Because again, also, I know we've talked about in the Alliance chat, like when your troops are fully ghosted, the weak point is right when your attack march comes back. So if someone hits you right when your attack march comes back to the keep, then they can be killed, and people know that, and they will try to do it. And, all right, so sorry, I had that come up. So people, know that, and they'll try to hit you right when your attack march comes up. And if you're pulled up right next to somebody, it's just easier for them to time when your troops are coming back. So I'll always leave a little distance. And then, so I'm going to set up these ghost rallies. So just, choose one of your monsters. It's recommended, actually, that if you go into settings and options, we've had, obviously, people joining ghost marches. So if you can remember, try to turn this off so it doesn't post in the chat. And then generally, Heck is always really good about choosing monsters that, like B12s and stuff like that we know that he can't actually kill, or that none of us can kill. So if we see it, it's not just the 60 minutes. It's also knowing that, that it's just another hint that this is a ghost rally and not to join it. But all that we can actually do is turn off the Alliance chat notification. So it's important to, when you're ghosting, to only use 60-minute marches so that everybody knows. And if possible, to choose a more powerful monster. So, there's not many along the edge here, and I try to do my monsters pretty close, just so it's just a split second of the game needing to scroll further, but the closer the better as far as I see. So I'm first of all going to set up this Alliance War 60 minutes. The first one that I want to do is my preset, selecting at top. So this is a false rally using my attack march only, and I'm going to set that up. I'm going to go back in again. You can do it to the same monster as much as you want, or until you're out of troops, I should say. I'm going to set this up. So this is my, basically my remaining strongest troops here. That otherwise, if I wasn't doing this, I could lose all of these, not the generals, but all these troops that are in here, and T10 calves and stuff like that. So I'm setting up a second one. And then you want to keep doing this until all of your troops are protected. So yeah, it looks like the rest of them are all in this. So I'm setting up the third one. And you can always check, I mean, so when you first pull in and ghost, you can have your bubble up, so they might see you, but you're still pretty safe to check on your first attack. And then, you know, you want to just, or if you can, or if you're not sure about it, you can go in to set up another one. And as you see here, all of my troops are ghosted. They're all freed up, or none of them are free. So if I get hit, then nobody's in the keep to be killed. So then now that I have that set up, I'm going back to my keep. And then you want to go into the Alliance Wars. So you need to know which one it is. It should be your strongest march power. And then, so this is my actual attack march that I ghosted. So I'm going to come in here, cancel the Alliance War. And then, you know, I still have my bubble up, and I'm not going to actually proceed with this attack. But when I do that, then as you see, all of my troops, all of my remaining troops that I have are attacking, and then everybody else is ghosting. So that's the main thing about it, is to use that preset to set up your attack march, set up Alliance Wars on, you know, till the rest of your troops are gone. Then you cancel the one for your attack march and send it instead. So if I were to proceed with this attack, then while my troops are marching towards him, if someone hits me, they're out of the keep and are protected, and everybody else is ghosted. So it's going to do, I mean, essentially no damage at all. Which also, just on that note here, I'm going to come in here and just see so how it actually looks. Like, for example, this is, I don't remember who this was or when this happened, but someone tried to make an attack, but when you go into the attacking report, then it'll show total troop 0, you know, and you'll lose some trap power. And, you know, even my subsidies aren't linked, so none of those are dead. I pull my defense generals off the wall before I attack, so it's like pretty much when he came in to hit me. I don't remember who this was or why he tried to attack, but yeah, I mean, basically had absolutely no power loss at all to it. So that's what you want in during server versus server. Then actually, if someone hits your keep when it's empty, that's negative points against them. So it'll tell you defense is lost, and it'll show your city on fire. But when you actually go into the report, you know, you can see that you can see there that you had no troops, and then you also lost absolutely 0 power on it. So that's what you want. I mean, when your troops are coming back, more experienced players know that as soon as your attack march gets back into the keep, that if they hit you then they're going to at least get your attack march. And that's what had happened to me on a recent one here with someone in VNN, that I was able to kill their attack march when they were hitting us. And I mean, it's still not zeroing them if they're ghosted, but I mean, you can take out hundreds of thousands of their troops at once if you still hit them in the right spot. But as far as ghosting is concerned, that's the risk spot. So again, I'm not actually going to send this attack out, but let's say I were to attack this guy, you know, they came and attacked me, right when the troops are about to get back, my screen goes red. You know, you always want to be ready to send out another attack or to set up another rally, because if your troops get back into the keep right when you get hit, you're going to at least lose that one march. So I think that's the basics of it, is, you know, just using your presets, and that way you can make sure that only your attack march is unghosted and that everybody else is protected. So I think that's where I'm going to stop it for now, and we'll definitely get more into troop layering and stuff like that later on. But hope this was helpful for everyone.